Hello everyone, John Maher here. This is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the dairy edge. So the story this week is that growth has improved and grass supply has improved, which is progress to say the least. The average farm cover on pasture base this week was about 800 kilos and about 276 per livestock unit. We need to be a bit higher than that, but at least it's progress. The growth was 56 and the demand was 40. So we are still growing more than we're eating, which means that farm cover and grass supply should improve. The diet this week averaged about 13, 14 kilos of grass, 4 kilos of meal, and about 2 kilos of silage, with the average pre-grazing yield making a good jump this week, up close to 1,700 from 1,500 for the last few weeks. With the improvement in growth and progress and the predicted growth to be better this week, there should still be an increase in grass supply. But as of the moment, I suppose 70% of the farms, I suppose, on pasture base are still behind on grass supply. However, growth is predicted this week to be above 50 in many places and close to 50 in other places. So if the grass supply should continue to improve as long as demand stays, 40 or below, will mean progress. Uh, Saying that, however, we've had above average rainfall, and this has created challenges in many parts of the country. The predicted rainfall patterns for the week ahead are very different to previously now, with about 3 inches forecasted for the southeast corner, likes of Wicklow and Wexford, and I suppose a half inch for the northwest corner. So very unusual to see that pattern, but that's what it is. The western part of the country has got a lot of rainfall over the last spell, and there have been challenges there in terms of grazing. I suppose those farmers with heavier land are struggling with grazing conditions, and some housings have to occur at night. Strip wires have to go up in many, many places, and to keep allocating grass every 12 hours. And in certain circumstances, I suppose on-off grazing is required in some farms also to try and keep grass in the diet and manage the ground conditions that prevail. But there will be a swing and has been a change in the weather pattern, and hopefully grazing conditions will improve. So on to next, I suppose, the grazing target. We are a little bit behind, but and while there has been improvement, we may not get to where we want to be. But if we could get most farms close to 850 or 900 for late September of an average farm cover, that would be progress. I suppose most farmers, most farms are still capable of at least a swing of about 15, 20 kilograms of dry matter per hectare per day between growth and demand. So what I mean by that is maybe growing 50 or 60 and a demand of 30 or 40. As I said, the predicted growth this week should be 50 on average. And if average farm cover is somewhere around the 700 mark, and you could keep that growth demand swing of 15 to 20 a day, then it means farm cover should improve to close to 900 kilos. So the idea then is to keep demand somewhere about the 30 to 40 mark, and if you grow to 50 to 60 mark, then there's a swing of potentially on average anyway 20 kilos a day for next 2 weeks. That's adding 300 to farm cover, maybe probably more like 250, but it's still building cover on the farm. Once we get to late September, generally speaking, the growth of the farm will be outstripped by the demand of the herd. And that's not unusual as growth rates start to decline. Therefore, every effort must be made to rebuild grass supply as fast as we can, despite the weather challenges there. But feeding additional supplements, like preferably zero graze grass or silage, probably has a greater impact than meal. But reducing the herd demand by removing the cull animals, or maybe the animals who have no future on the farm, not in calf, SCC problems, lameness problems, would help reduce herd demand. So the aim must be to continue to build grass. Speaking of building grass, we have a lot of people who have reseeded during the month of August and trying to build the grass growing capability of the farm. These reseeds, as soon as possible, should be grazed as early as possible to try and get tillering to happen so that the cover wouldn't build up too high. Easy for me to say this now with the current weather conditions, but maybe in certain parts of the country, the conditions may allow for some grazing to happen. The idea with the reseeds is to stay on short rotation. Someone like me will ask for 35 days rotation for mid-September, but the reseed should be closer to 20, 25 days. And as soon as the docks are about the size of a €2 coin, then it's the ideal time for reseeding. So the reseed should be on a shorter rotation length, but the rotation length should be of about 35 days at this stage from mid-September. What I mean by that is just that if you have 35 paddocks, it's one paddock a day. It's not 35 days looking back, it's 1/35th of the farm. 35 hectares, a hectare a day, 70 acres, 2 acres a day. So on to our feature farmer then, I suppose, for this week. Very interesting story. It's the OD Farm Partnership based in East Limerick, and it has been a phenomenal year in East Limerick for growing grass. This farm has grown almost 14 tons already, which is a phenomenal achievement to say the least. So the farm by the end of the year will have grown over 15 ton. We need to quantify those tons with the nitrogen input. So the chemical nitrogen input is about 148 units per acre, or 173 kilos of nitrogen per hectare. The cows will do close on 500 kilograms of milk solids on about 600 kilograms of meal. So phenomenal year in East Limerick. Phenomenal performance on this farm. This farm is featured in this week's podcast because they are the clover category winner of the Grass10 Farmer of the Year competition, and they're opening up their farm next week, Tuesday, the 23rd of September, at 11 a.m. And there is something for everybody to learn on a farm like this, given the year we've had. Their current average farm cover is close to 1,000. They grew close to 50, have a demand close to 40. The cows are on 17 kilos of grass, 3 kilos of meal, doing about 17.5 litres at 5.5 fat and about 4.3 protein. Their last nitrogen application, which happened in the early part of September, was 20 units of nitrogen per acre to the low clover paddocks, right, and 12 units of nitrogen per acre to the high clover paddocks. The next week or two will focus on spreading muriate of potash to the low index fields in terms of K. So, the 15th of September has passed. There are now restrictions on fertilizer, nitrogen, and P, but not on K. When we're speaking of deadlines, slurry application needs to be completed by the end of September, the 30th. So that's the story on the fertilizer side. From a grazing management point of view, the grazing 16 to 1700 kilograms of beautiful grass. The rotation length is set to be 35 days this week. And they have a reseeded paddock there at the moment, which will be there to be viewed on the day, made up of a mixture of Aston Energy and Nishota with about 2 kilos of clover. Seed is in early May. He's been crazed quite a lot during the year, at about every 10 days through the main part of the season, and currently running about 25 days at the moment. It got 20 units of nitrogen per acre back in early September. To say the least, the clover content on this farm is phenomenal. It's the best I've seen all year, best I've seen in a long, long time. So if you want to see more and hear more from the ODs, Robert, Bernard, and Dennis, it's a farm partnership. Tuesday, 23rd, 11 a.m. is for you. The air code for the farm is in the Grass10 newsletter. Speaking of Grass10, we are hiring, and we are looking for a person who is media savvy, I suppose. Someone who'd like to do the Grass10 podcast. Basically, the job requires 2 credentials. 1, to like all things grazing, and 2, to communicate that to as many people as possible. So more information is outlined in the Grass10 newsletter. If you'd like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website. And the link to newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. We would like to thank all those who support the Grass10 campaign, AIB, Grassland Agro, Department of Agriculture, FBD, and the Farmers Journal. This has been your Grass10 update, and I will talk to you again next week when I hope grass supply is still improving. Best of luck. It has been challenging with weather, but let's keep heads up and keep grazing.